Welcome. You're listening to My Magical Horse, the podcast, where we are getting curious about animal communication. I am your host, Jordan Banks, and if you are desiring a more magical connection with your own horse, you are in the right place. Join us as we rediscover our sense of wonder, experience the joy, and feel the magic that horses bring to our lives each and every day. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for spending your time with us. Now let's get started. Welcome back to My Magical Horse, the podcast. Today, I am so excited to have my dear friend, Maeve Bandt, with us. Maeve and I met 3 years ago this month when this gets released in June of 2026. We met 3 years ago at the Elements of Connection, which was in Aptos, California. And Maeve and I stayed in an Airbnb together with 5 other women. No, 4. There were 6 of us total, I think.
I think 6.
Yeah, so 4 other women besides us. And yeah, it was really a fun experience to all meet each other at the airport and then get to know each other over the 3 days, I think it was, that we were there. And welcome, Maeve. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful to be here.
Yes. And since we met 3 years ago, Maeve is now a BTMM apprentice, would you say apprentice instructor?
Yep.
And a Lazaris nerve release practitioner. And she also started a website that's like a community platform called the Holistic Horse Collective. Is that right? The
Yep.
Holistic Horse Collective.
Yep.
And we can talk about that more later, but I'm really excited just to catch up with you and find out what all's happened in these 3 years, because it feels like it's just been like a blip of time, like so fast, yet so much has happened. So, and I want to talk about animal communication and what role it has played in your life since we got to meet Shaylee 3 years ago at the Elements of Connection. So, yeah, I just welcome. And where should we start? Tell me, I guess, maybe about that experience when you went to Elements of Connection and you first, like, did you believe in animal communication going into that, or was that kind of, you already did?
Yeah, I did. And I'd had I've my entire life has been with horses. Growing up in like rural northern Michigan, I grew up spending time with my horses. Like that was pretty much probably the biggest part of my life. My grandpa and I spent a lot of time together with our horses and traversing, 2 tracks in northern Michigan and off the 2 tracks on our horses. So a lot of time spent not necessarily around as many other like equine community and larger groups, because that really didn't exist in a large scale near us. So it was him and and I always felt the most comfortable with my horses. So I think from like unknowingly a very young age, it was kind of there, right? Because there was always a stronger comfort zone with horses than there really was with people, for the most part. So I think that kind of always existed. And then I had an experience with my German Shepherd, Ella, that like put me into like a Twilight Zone feeling, where it really set in and I started to get kind of mind blown about things.
What was that? Like, tell us about it. What
Okay,
happened?
so it was
and where was this in regards, like in the timeline of things?
Timeline, yes.
Yeah.
So this was late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
Probably. And it was just a really simple, basic interaction. But we were at my parents' house and she still lived there. And I was standing just like on the opposite side of the yard. There's a driveway that kind of comes down between us. And we like locked in on each other. And it just felt like what I now know as like a defined sacral authority in my human design, right? Like a very like trust my gut oriented, like that's how I know. And so it like felt like it like I solidified there. And then all of a sudden it was like a tunnel between us and it was really wild. And I had asked her, will you come over here and see me? And like she was just laying down. It was a beautiful sunny day. And she was just like, yeah, sure. Like, kind of like put it off a little, like, I'm kind of okay. And I'm like, please, will you please come, please come see me. And she like, it's like, all right, fine. She was a little older, so she's like got
Yeah.
up slow and did a big stretch and then looked at me again. And I'm like, well, whoa, this is working. Like something's happening here. Like it was like a wild experience because it was the first time I've ever really had anything like that. And then I was like, okay, seriously? You're hearing me, I think. So will you come? And she just was like, yep. And then like trotted all the way over and up and sat right in front of me and looked up at me like, okay, here I am. And I just burst into tears. And like nobody's around, like nothing is going on. And I'm just like so emotional and like overwhelmed and couldn't believe that just happened, like it was
So
like
it
your
it
dreams
felt
come
like you were
true.
really connected to her, not just talking to her in
Like there's a beam
open
connecting our
line of
hearts
communication.
together. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you didn't
So,
know about animal communication then, so
nope.
how'd you make sense of that, or what did you think of it, or what went through your head?
Um, I just sort of allowed it to exist and
Hmm.
be. And like, of course, like I very much am like solution oriented and logic brain and like always like coming up with answers to things. So balancing the worlds of like woo woo and science is like always this like, oh, this all works together. So how do I make this make sense,
Yeah.
And so at that time though, I think really started to step into understanding that there was a lot more to life and like a spirituality type realm of existing because I kind of
Hmm.
grew up in like the religious side and not super overly strong, but for quite a bit. Like, we were religious. I grew up going to church for many years. And then it kind of like you go through a phase in your teens where you're like, oh, I don't like organized religion. Because you see a lot of things that don't really feel good sometimes show up with organized religion. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I kind of like stepped away from that and almost shunned it a little rebellious, I guess, in like a teenage sense too. And then
Yeah.
I started to go, man, but there's way too many things we can't explain for there not to be something bigger and there not to be a higher power of some sort and something there, whether that's, of course, my beliefs have all shifted and changed since, but that was kind of at that time I started to realize that. So it just kind of like went into this like just gathered data from it and like filed it and was like, okay, this is something. And then of course I'm like, how do I recreate it?
Yeah, were you able to? I mean, or did that feel like it was kind of like a one thing and then you didn't see that for a while?
Didn't see that for a while because
Mm.
I think that I went into a phase of my life that things got difficult. Like just things got difficult. And so it was sort of like I strayed away from me, like
Mm.
who I am, like in ways that I was disassociating quite a bit in different things. So that made it difficult to get back to that, right?
Yeah.
And
So
so I didn't see it for a while.
you're saying this happened in your late teens or early 20s? Is that what you're saying?
Hmm.
That, and then you
Hmm.
had gone home and your dog was there
Yep.
at your parents' house. Okay.
Yep. From there, it was like, everything is like a roller coaster. Nothing is linear
Because of
in
life.
any
Yeah.
stage of anything at all, ever. Yep.
Yeah.
So I kind of like went down and into this like spiritual realm, went to school to be a yoga teacher
Oh, wow.
because I was
Okay.
like, I went outside and I didn't know what to do. And I stood in the woods and I spoke out loud and I said, I need help. I don't know what I need to do. So help me. Universe, like help me. I need help on figuring out what my path is. And then it was like a ton of bricks hit me you need to go to school to be a yoga teacher. So I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. Like, it couldn't be more obvious. It just hit me, right? So ask and you shall receive, I guess, right? So that kind of started my early 20s. And then I moved to a different area, and based on just my life experiences up until that point and the life that I'd lived, and, you know, stepping into a place where I moved to a new city by myself for the first time, didn't even have my dog, a little Cairn Terrier. And it's easy to fall off track a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
You step into a different life, and I went there to try to teach yoga and ended up working at a bar and just kind of falling into a different life that I really had expected for myself, though it
And you
didn't
didn't
really
have,
last long.
so horses weren't a part of your life at that point.
It's not while I lived in that city for that year.
Where
Yeah.
where were you at? What city?
I moved to Grand Rapids in
Oh, okay.
Michigan.
So you're still in Michigan.
Yep,
Okay.
still in Michigan. And that's where I met my husband, and then moved to Colorado 2 months
W-
later.
with him.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then we were married in 2020, and I got Franklin. And then EOC
That's
happened
your
in
horse.
23. Yep.
So
Yep.
Franklin and oops, sorry, Franklin's is he a thoroughbred or what is he?
Yep. He's an unraced off the track, but yeah.
Unraced
Hmm.
off the track thoroughbred. Okay. And he's
Yep.
who you still have now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was in 2020 and then 2023. So what drew you to going to Elements of Connection?
EOC was such a huge stepping stone. So I'd never had a 4-year-old thoroughbred,
Yeah.
let alone just a 4-year-old horse, right? Like, I'd always had a little bit older horses, and it was just different. And there was things going on with him that I couldn't like explain as to why they were happening. And so I found through Instagram a post of Celeste's, and she had talked about nerve impingement. And so I was reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my horse. Like, all these things she's
Mm.
listing off describe my horse. And I've never seen anybody talk about this stuff before. And so after that, I booked a lesson with her, and it was awesome. And it was like the floodgates opened, right? Like, I was like, oh, I can't, literally can't get enough of this. Like, this is my jam. Like, I'd always wanted to work with horses forever as a living. Like, that was always the goal. I just never thought that you could make money doing it, you know? So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to be realistic. And so that dream went to the wayside, you know?
Tell me about the Holistic Horse Collective. Like, what, when did you come up with the idea and what has it turned into since then?
Yes. Okay. So I was thinking about this today, and of course, and it started because I really wanted to be able to share lived experiences and things that, like, I had been working through with horses, with people, in a way that was digestible and that I felt needed to be shared. And it kind of started off as like one path, and it has just evolved into something completely, wouldn't say, maybe not completely different, but quite a bit different than the initial thought of it.
Mm.
It's an educational platform, but it really has nothing to do with me, and it has everything to do with me realizing that I was in this incredible, intuitive, genuine, authentic, like, network of horse professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how did I land here? Okay. You know, like, I'm surrounded by all these amazing people. I don't need to have all the answers, but I know so many people that have amazing information that I think everybody should hear about and everybody should learn and know about. And my career is in sales. And so there is a part of me that's like, oh, yeah, like, I love also that side of things. And so I can sell other people's amazing, you know, like, value and worth, and, like, in a funny sense, you know, because it's like, obviously I'm not It's really nothing to do with selling, but it is like I just want other people to experience all of this magic that I have around me.
Yeah, as a
So,
resource. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's things people can gain so much by just listening to these incredible people I'm surrounded by. And so that's kind of what it's turned into is an educational platform based on whole horse care and holistic doesn't mean like ignoring Western medicine, right? Like
Right.
there is this kind of like a stigma a little bit with like the term holistic, which is maybe avoiding certain things because it's Western medicine or it's common or it's, mainstream, where it's like, well, holistic just means like whole, right? Like we care for the whole system, the whole, and that means like the horse itself. And then also beyond that, the horse's environment, the horse's lifestyle, the humans of the horses, right? So everything that interacts to create the picture for the whole horse. And that's really what that is. And then like finding what works for the unique individual that each horse is, that it's avoiding the blanket statements, the black and white, the one size fits all. And it's just how can we become thinking horsemen and
Hmm.
slowing down to process information, gather data, ask questions of our horses, be curious so that we can actually start peeling back layers instead of just treating a symptom or getting
Yeah.
into fix it mode. And we get into these boxes that we place ourselves in. Ask me how I know. And we get into that place where we're like, okay, I see all these things. And the more I learn, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to learn about this. And then I see this in my horse. And we start hyper fixating on what's wrong. And it can spiral. And so the idea is, can there be a place that provides education that doesn't need to resonate with everybody that looks at it? That's not the point. The point is,
Mhm.
can we look at things and go, yeah, I resonate with that because I'm listening to myself. Like I know my yes and no, and whatever that looks like, right? And being able to determine what feels good for your horse, right? And do you even know? Are you doing it for your horse? Are you making this choice for your horse or for you because it makes you feel good? So it's kind of like that piece of going, okay, let's slow down. Let's uncover root causes of things instead of just getting into the quick fix mentality that is like the whole world we live in today.
Right.
And it's not me providing all of the information or anything. It's pulling from this team that I have of professionals and the entire network that's building and already exists. It all started actually after Elements of Connection. I felt so inspired and it felt so everything in my body was saying yes, like yes, this is, I thrive on collaboration. I'm in my human design, it is like all over, like I am,
Mm.
it is all about collaboration, right? And so I left there and ended up taking a course in with Felicity
Oh, you
Davies.
did. Okay.
Yeah, and it
Which
was
course did you
a
take?
business
Oh,
course.
okay. Mhm.
Yeah, one of the business ones that she did for equine professionals. And it
Okay.
was really lovely. And we dove into this and we did a ton of manifesting in that course. And it was really awesome. I'm actually like gonna go back and find some of the notebooks that I wrote, like
Yeah.
journal entries in around that time.
I didn't realize you'd done that because I did a business class with her too. It wasn't the same one
Oh,
you did. What was she calling the one you were in? Do you remember? Because I did frequency. Did it have the same name or did she change the name?
it might have been different than that. We
Okay.
say it's been 3 years, but oh my gosh, it's like it feels like a lifetime, but also a blink of an
Yeah.
eye at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, actually, it's so interesting that you came up with that idea because I already had the idea for my magical horse before I did frequency, but the podcast came in when I was in frequency. Then I came
oh,
up with the
interesting.
idea for the podcast. And prior to that, I had the platform on Patreon already. And I was not really sure where I was going to go with it. And then in frequency, I came up with the idea for the podcast too. Interestingly, my mission is similar to yours, other than mine is really
Mhm.
based on animal communication and being a resource for people to learn about all these different animal communicators and wanting people to kind of like find communicators that they resonate with. And exactly like what you said, like all the information doesn't have to resonate with everybody, but it's like kind of like a hub of a place where they can find what does resonate.
Yes.
And your website looks the same,
Mhm.
like kind of the same
Mhm.
mission, but
Yes.
but a different topic than mine per se. Do
Yep.
you want me to pull up I can share the screen and pull up your website and we can kind of go through it if you want.
Sure.
You want
Yeah.
to?
Cool.
Let
Yeah,
me
because frankly, Sound Equine was my personal, it is my personal
okay.
business. And that's really what spawned from that business. And
Frankly Sound Equine.
frankly, Sound Equine did. And then so I spent a lot of time working on other people's horses, doing body work, training, and it pretty much all of my time went to other people's horses for like a couple years straight.
Right?
And my kids took the back seat, and I'm like, dang,
Mine
yeah,
too. I get it.
uh-huh,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
mm-hmm. And I appreciate everything that I needed to gain from the experiences that I did have with that. And during that time, I was working a lot with a partner that I'd had, and that's when HHC was formed. So it was kind
Oh,
of through
okay.
this collaborative effort with another person, and we started HHC, and then I mean, I keep going back to my human design because I read through it again today and I'm like, wow, I interpret this so much different than I did 2, 3 years ago when I was seeing it for
Really?
the first time. So much different because I didn't know how to interpret it then. But now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I know how to interpret this. And so
Yeah.
it's through these trial and error and experiences and making mistakes. Like I want to make mistakes with everything I do because it's just gathering data. It's just
Yeah.
building information to get more aligned with what feels best for what I want to put out in the world, right? And so that has shifted 1,000 times over with HHC. And I just felt so strongly from it from the beginning. And about fall last year, I took it over solely myself.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's kind of turned into a venture. But I have this team that I've built around because I'm like, this isn't
Yeah.
just a me thing. This is bigger. This is a
Yeah.
collective, right?
Yeah,
So
well, let me share the
yeah.
screen here, and you can kind of just maybe tell me where you want me to click. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is your homepage, like right. This is what
Yep.
comes up first, and that's
Exactly.
beautiful picture of
That's
you and
yeah.
Frankie. Oh, I
Yeah,
love
sweet
it.
boy. Yeah, he's my
And
good
yeah,
boy.
anybody who is not watching the video version of this, which is in my Magical Horse, the membership part, you can go to holistichorsecollective.com to check this out. And I am logged in as a member, so you can tell me
Cool.
where you want me to
Yeah,
click and kind of talk about it.
perfect. So what I really love is I'm always making changes in this. It's my like growing, shifting. I mean, it has to be, right? So Martha, who
Yeah.
our beautiful Martha, is on the team, HHC team, and she's amazing. And we love her so much. So she is incremental in the major shift we had, which was putting that free resource out of the foundation series. So in our free
Mm.
resources, so if you go to the free resources tab, it drops down and there's the foundation series. Okay. So the foundation series was something that one day I'm like, when you go out and see people and their horses, what do you wish that they knew? Like
Mm.
from the vet, what do you wish more people had a better grasp of? Like, where are we
Yeah.
kind of missing the mark? And it's
Yeah,
like,
because Martha is a vet. Let's just let everybody know that she's a
yep,
vet that we
she is a
met that
vet.
stayed with us
Yep.
at EOC.
Yes, yeah, our dear sister. Oh my gosh. And so she was like, honestly, basic husbandry. And I'm like, yeah. And then I started diving into this. We kind of co-created this whole thing and put together this foundation series that's free that I want to be a support for not only horse owners and their horses, but equine professionals that they can go, hey, go check out this series. It provides you a lot of great information on the basics. Of course, we can expand on all of these things tenfold, but what are our core areas of care, right? So, like our nutrition, preventive care, hoof care, tack fit maintenance, environment and handling. So, all of these pieces, and then each one breaks down into, really valuable information that,
This is like a free resource, you said, that anybody can
yeah,
access this.
exactly. And then go back to and gain information on and education on. And then from there, we have professional consultants.
That's really cool, Maeve. Hold on,
Yeah.
let me see if I can go backwards on my, oh, it's not letting me go backwards on there.
There's a
Um,
little tab that says return to
oh,
the
foundations.
foundations. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was going to keep going down here to the explore our consultants.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got our veterinarian professional consultants. That way people have, okay, here's a free resource, free information. It's not like this information doesn't exist. Frankly, there's not a lot of information around horses that hasn't already been discussed. That,
Yeah.
like kind of ever about almost anything. So I'm
And it
like,
kind of puts it all in one spot so
yep,
people can like just dive
yep.
in. So you've got Martha, Dr. Martha Wildsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yeah.
she's
Lisa,
Lisa
our hoof
Mittler.
care. Yep.
How'd you meet Lisa?
Lisa came up and did a clinic up here a couple years ago, and I met her there, and then I was like, oh, she's instantly my best friend. I love her so much. So
And she's a hoof care provider.
yep, yep.
Okay. And then we've got Celeste for the
Hmm.
body work and like
Training, and there's so much overlap with so many things, right? But
yeah.
everybody resonates with something a little different. So we have between Celeste, Kiara, and Zach, I mean, you're covering, he makes saddles, he starts colts, he's an incredible trainer. Kiara and Zach are absolutely incredible trainers. They have a fun clinic coming up, actually, that
Are
I think
they
actually is going to happen before this comes out.
are they in Colorado or where are they
Mm-hmm.
located? Oh, they
Yep,
are.
20
Okay.
minutes north of me.
Okay.
I'm so lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is your kind of your core group of
This is
consultants.
my professional consultants. Yeah. And so that way people can reach out and book one on ones with people, with other equine professionals that they
Yeah.
feel good, like they resonate with. And these are people that are so dear to me that I want to share. And so, of course, there's so many other lovely humans that people can reach out to. But I'm like, all right, we're providing a free resource. If somebody wants to dive deeper, here are some amazing people that I know, and I
Yeah.
can expand on it a million ways over. But so I
Um,
have, there is some free resources. I'm trying to build as many free resources as I possibly can.
okay.
But there's also things that have to live behind my
Yeah.
$5.99 monthly
The
fee.
membership. So do you want me to
Yeah,
go ahead and click into the member hub?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Okay. So now we're in the member hub, so you can talk about what people get if they're in the
Yep,
membership.
exactly. And so under the free resources, I did add a preview the classroom
Oh,
because
okay.
I wanted people to have a decent idea, but I love that we're in here.
Okay.
So I'm trying to have something that shows what is new so that members can see, okay, what's being added, what's new here. We have Ask the Collective where people can share their personal like questions for their personal horses, what they're actually dealing with. Of course, we have our Facebook group, but this is a little bit more private. Some people don't like to share. I don't post a lot in places either. I get it. But this gives people a place that they can ask and get information back based on specific things that they're dealing with. And we're starting a case study portion of this. So
Oh,
people will be able to submit their horse for a case study, be
okay.
reviewed by our professional consultants and our team, and then get feedback provided. And that will all get housed in the classroom under our case studies so that other people in the membership are able to learn from those case studies and follow along.
Okay. So I'm in the collective Classroom now.
Classroom. Yep. So there's new series that are coming up. The From the Field series that you're going to be short form videos. I just did one on how to use a tuning fork.
Okay.
And they're not none of those are meant to be, this is the answer, this is how you do it, this is black and white, the only way. It is, again, the energy of what questions can we ask and how can we be more curious about our horses, their care, and then what their feedback is and what they're telling us. So even if we're not on an animal communication level of like feeling like we have that with our horse, well, the first step to doing that in my world is being curious, asking
Yeah.
questions, right? Through communication, if you have that lens, or just through training practices, through exploring different tools, through, slowing down, listening, waiting to watch what your horse is saying, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So this is the curiosity series right here.
Yep. So this is
Um,
our first video in this of just noticing, noticing basic things. How do you walk with your horse? Right? So it's just slowing things down and getting people to be more curious about their interactions with their horse and what kind of data is being shared with them that so easy for us to miss so often because
right.
we're not looking,
And
and then we
then,
have our voices. Yep. So these
yeah.
are our calls, and all of our
Oh.
recorded calls are housed in here. And we have such a lovely range of topics in there. And there's so many fun calls. Oh my gosh. So that's just, those are a little longer form. There's MP3 downloadable versions of all of the calls so that people can download and just listen on their way instead of watching if they don't have time or don't have data to do it.
Yeah. Read a couple of these topics. Just pick some
Okay,
for the
so
listeners.
lymphatic, that was a lovely call talking about the lymphatic system. We've got equine anatomy and layers. Ivana was absolutely incredible. That was such an enlightening call. And she dove through, so she does dissections and she's a vet and body worker, and she's absolutely incredible. And I got to visit with her a lot over several months leading up to it. And it was, she's incredible. And she left us a lot of knowledge in that video. Oh my gosh. She shared a whole presentation in there. Kate just did one on Bioscan. We used Franklin as a case study on that call, dove through it, gave people an idea of what it looks like, what to expect. In terms of the process, we have got Catherine on talking about rider biomechanics and coming back from injuries. I mean, Kiara and Zach on. Kiara and Zach and I could go on topics all over and talk for hours and hours and hours, but that was an incredible call. We had a gal, Tracy Duncan from the UK, come on and talk about crystals and how she uses
Oh
crystals in her
yeah,
practice.
that sounds
Uh-huh.
really interesting to me too.
It
I
was
saw that
very
one.
good. And she did like a whole slide. And I mean, it's a really lovely call.
How
Lisa
long are these
Jacobson,
calls usually? Are they
we
they
about
kind
an
of
hour.
about an
Yeah.
hour?
Yeah, we try
Okay.
to stick to an hour the best we
Okay.
can. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I just want to kind of
Um,
give people a taste of what they could find in here.
yep.
And
Yep.
what is the membership a month?
$5.99.
5.99 a month. And you
Yep.
have so many topics. So yeah, you go
Yeah.
from the field, and then she's got
Yeah.
collective voices, which are these ones that we were just talking about. And then it goes into nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
You're even talking about the pendulum. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And oh, you
TCM,
talk about
element
this.
series.
Yeah,
Yep.
the elements,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
fire, wood,
Mm-hmm.
water,
Yep. We're
of
only three in. We have to complete that series still,
okay.
but it's building and getting
Okay.
there.
And then you've got
Um,
preventative care.
mm-hmm.
And I see, yeah, some of these are overlapping from from different topics.
Yep.
But
They
that's
get
cool.
tagged and kind of moved into their categories. So that way people can, and they can search at the top and find some of them by just keywords. I mean, the fascial line call with Celeste was awesome. Celeste
Yeah.
was kind enough to share her Foundations of Pillar One course with our members.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
all HHC members get access for free to her Foundations of Pillar
Oh,
One course.
okay.
Because she's amazing and lovely and the best. And
So this is so
Uh,
cool. So how long have you been doing this? When you sent me the link to get in here and I was like, whoa, I didn't even
yeah,
know you were doing all this.
yeah,
Like I kind of seen it online, but we're all busy and I hadn't paid that much attention. And then when you
yeah.
sent me the link to get in and I was like, holy moly, Maeve, what have you been up to? Like there is
Yeah.
a lot of information in here.
Yeah. And then we have the resource barn, which is like the downloadable aspects of things. We've got like a holistic first aid flyer that can hang in your barn. You've got, and some of
Oh,
this I've thrown
wow.
on the free side too.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so this was created in November of 24. And then it's just kind of been an evolving,
Oh, okay.
growing thing.
Yeah. This is awesome. How many members do you have now? Do you know?
I think there's like a 70, 80
Oh,
in
wow. Okay.
there.
And you said you have
So
a private Facebook group as well.
there's a
And
private Facebook group. Anybody can join the private Facebook group.
oh, okay.
So not
Okay.
everything, member wise is shared in there, but I
Right.
do a Monday reflection series, Monday morning reflections in there, posting questions and just getting us thinking about different things, different topics. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. I'm excited to see how this continues to grow and build.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is so cool. Just seeing like how much it's developed, and I just
Hmm.
wanted to kind of give people my whole mission with my magical horse is trying to kind of like what you're doing, like giving people different resources of avenues
Yep.
that they can go. And so like your resource is a huge resource for the holistic care of your horse, not meaning that you don't use Western medicine, but
Sure. Hmm.
for what if as a tool for people when they have questions and they don't know who to ask, they may very
Right.
well be able to find it in here. And like you
Right.
said, you could even ask people can ask questions if they
Yep.
don't find it in here.
And it's not
So
like it's not me. This goes to a team of varied professionals, right? You've got vets and farriers and trainers and body workers looking at this.
yeah.
And I'm just kind of like a little weaver of
Yeah, a
people.
little
That's all,
facilitator
yeah,
putting
that's
it
how I
together.
feel. And
Oh,
so
I
that's why
love
I'm
that.
like, I love I love what you're doing because it's so cool. I love that there's similar things to this, and yet everything's just slightly different. It's like
Yeah.
everything carries its own magic, and that's why you're going to be on, and I'm going to have you on here, and you're going to be
Ah,
shared. And that way, it's just like this woven network of folks, this
yeah.
wide web,
Well, I think
and
what's cool too is that, yeah, you get an idea and it's going to reach the people that need to find it. And me sharing this for you is going to help some people that are on my magical horse go, oh, like maybe this could help me with XYZ. Maybe not a topic, something that we're not covering on my magical horse, but wow, now I just gave you like a portal into a whole nother world, a whole nother platform that can answer those questions for
yeah,
the well-being of the horses. And
yeah.
that's so cool. So,
Yeah. And it's like not, there's, like I said, it goes back to like those two different sides. You've got like, we have the woo woo side, but then there's the science. And it's like one can't exist without the other. I mean,
yeah,
we're
right. Like,
spiritual beings walking in meat suits with electricity running in us. How is this not
right.
all spiritual? And so that's why I'm like, I need to have an outlet on here, like with you talking about the animal communication side, because it's something that, whether we admit it or not, is interwoven in us, every one of us, right? And so this is like, you can be my portal to folks that want to explore more down that rabbit hole in that lane, and just again have a hub of finding what resonates and feels good.
Yeah, so I just went back into the collective classroom because that's
Hmm.
where, just for people listening again, collective classroom, if you're a member, is where you get all this huge range of different topics,
Hmm.
from herbal stuff to tuning forks to crystals to actual, conversations with vets and,
Yeah,
other
yeah,
equine professionals that aren't on the woo-woo side. So it's all tied together,
yep,
which I think is really cool.
yeah, yeah. And
Vaccinations.
vaccinations. Martha's going to do a call soon on dentistry.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
the equine mouth. She's actually in a course right now on it. Additional, CE credits, but yeah,
And all
it's
the hoof stuff
yeah,
is so important too, because man, there's
yeah.
definitely some lacking stuff on the that side of things where we need to even try
Hmm.
to help educate the hoof professionals, or
Yep.
get them involved so that they are wanting to learn all the things.
Hmm. Yeah, we've got a training
Um,
your eye video series I'm finishing up right now that's going to come out.
oh,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
it's just it's a building thing still, right? So like that's the fun part is I love just hearing what questions people have and then leaning on my network of people to put something together that feels amazing that can just provide some insight and get people thinking, right? And
Yeah,
like you take it in terms of like not knowing any direction of where to go with this and then it funnels. I just want it to funnel to a place where they're like, okay, I have enough info around this that I can go ask some questions and gather the data that helps me actually pinpoint some things that are going on
yeah,
or that feel good to explore, you know?
yeah.
So yeah.
I love it just because you have a lot of really interesting topics on there.
Yeah.
Even beyond the this basic basics, like you're saying, like a lot of this is
Hmm.
information, but there's a lot of beyond the basics that's in there too to keep people,
Yeah.
I think, their curiosity piqued,
Yes,
if you
exactly.
will.
Yes.
But all right, well, that's cool. I wanted to share. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to say about that before we jump topics to animal communication stories?
I think that I liked what you said. I like that the things that we put out land in places that they're meant to and at the time
Yeah.
that they are. And
Yeah.
yeah, it
And
will.
that's part of the whole, yeah, all the collaboration stuff is great for that because it
Yes.
just
Oh my
helps
gosh.
introduce different communities to other
Yeah.
people that they might need, you know?
Hmm.
But
Totally.
yeah, so like I said, when we were talking before I started recording, one of my missions is to not just interview animal communicators, but I want to interview real people who actually believe in it and who actually use communicators so that people can kind of just see how this lands in the real world for people who are utilizing animal communicators, not just the communicators themselves, because sometimes that might make them feel a little like, oh, well, I'm not a communicator, so I can't relate to that. But have you taken any animal communication classes yourself?
Not classes. No.
Okay, so I've taken a handful, and I still feel like I just want to take all the classes.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I mean, I know that I can do it now, but I don't do it with like the what's the word? The discipline that like Shaylee does. You know, she's very
Sure.
disciplined in her craft. So of course somebody that is super disciplined about meditating and connecting all the time, their skill level is going to be higher than someone like me who's at least getting to the point where I'm like, I can at least acknowledge and understand when I'm getting messages now where I used to maybe just think it was in my head, or I used to think, like question or doubt whether or not I was getting the information that I thought I was getting. I don't doubt it anymore. And I'm even more open to going to communicators when I need clarity. Like I actually had a horse that was for sale, and this will be a whole different topic. I might do a whole podcast interview just about him, with myself. I'll interview myself
Y-
about this
Yeah. Cool. I can't wait.
because a whole sale fell through, and
Mm.
I had done everything to try to find this guy his perfect home, and I really thought I'd found his perfect home, and the thing fell apart. And so I had an opportunity to connect with a communicator that I hadn't used before, which I think was key because she didn't really know anything about this scenario.
Mhm.
And then I was able to compare that with another communicator, and like their messages were like the same. And I was just like
Mm.
blown away about why he didn't sell. And the reason he didn't sell is he needs to stay with me for now. So it's kind
Mm.
of crazy, and I'm
Mm.
not sure
Oh
where
yeah.
it's going to go ultimately, but it was actually really re it was reassuring for me because I kind of
Mhm.
already felt that, but I didn't want to embrace it because I felt like maybe that was just me emotionally not wanting to let him go. But I really had let him go. Like, no, he's going. And then to find two communicators telling me the reason he didn't go is because he's meant to stay with me. I was like, okay, so
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh
It
my
was,
gosh.
it wasn't just me wanting to keep him, like there is a greater
Yeah.
thing going on here that's beyond just what I think I want.
Yeah,
Why
right,
not?
right, right.
But
Right.
anyway, I want to dive into some of your experiences with communication and if you have any I just as many conversation like scenarios that you want to talk about.
Sure.
That's what this is about. Like I just want to
Cool.
share these cool stories with
Mm,
people and
mhm,
kind of help
mm.
people understand that this is so much more real than the general public has been led to believe that it is, if that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. And I think that a big piece of that is, I mean, my opinions on a big piece of that is for us, I think to be really comfortable and confident in trusting ourselves, if we're not somebody that has like visions, if we don't get visions, visualizations of things, like if we don't see, like I know some people that are communicators hear narrative. I know some people see
Mhm.
picture. I know some people it's more colors and like energy, or maybe it's a combination of all those things, or maybe it's none of them. And I think that a big piece for me in moving into how I communicate with horses is first understanding how I operate and like that I don't operate off of getting visions. I get downloads about things where I'm like, I have a
Mhm.
download about this. I need to
And
explore this thing, you know?
and that's like a knowing. So that's like the
Yep.
claircognizance. It's like you just know it, but
Yep.
you're not sure why.
100%. It's like you
I'm
have to trust your gut.
that one's I'm big on that one too.
Yep. Yep. And that's what's so hard because I think this world that we're living in, like society and all the things, separates us from our own self. It
Yeah.
separates us from each other as a community. It separates us from our own self. And so taking the time to spend getting to know yourself, I'm talking from personal my experience,
Yeah, I get it. Me too.
is it was like the beginning of all of this, like meditating and that manifesting magic that Shaylee and Amber did.
Hmm.
And then the cave meditation that she did
Hmm.
was huge for me
Me
in
too.
my realm of it. Like I went somewhere and I was like, whoa, like everything kind of shifted a little bit after that. And it's people don't need to do that one specific thing. People don't need to do meditation at all. Maybe it comes through another way. I mean, it's we have all these experiences that lead us up to what we individually need to unlock certain things that are all within us, right? And there's like getting to know ourselves and like caring about ourselves is was the first step for me. And then like yeah, Shaylee was my first experience with animal communication from somebody else. And I mean, I love Shaylee. She's amazing. And so I went down to work on horses early on when I was starting to do body work. And there was these two horses I was working on. There was a barn and an outdoor arena separate, two separate buildings. And we had to, and it was wintertime. I brought my little wiener dog, Archer, down with me. He went for a ride and he just hung out in the car. Like he was, our winter here is not like he was fine, you know.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out in the car, you know, waiting. He was just happy to be along. And we're so wild here that it's not even winter, you know. But I was working. We were working on these horses. I was. We ended up taking them from the barn building out past my car where he was, and then over to the indoor arena. And I say this for context. So
Mhm.
these horses, like the tension patterns that existed, they were carrying a lot of brace in their poll and like really tight and like very, very braced through the entire poll. And really kind of locked into postural, like kind of dysfunctional posture. Anyway, so I had done a session with Shaylee days later, a few days later, and she brought up, well, Archer's coming into the picture, she said, and it was a session for Franklin. And I honestly don't remember a whole lot about this session with Franklin at this point, so I don't know. But I remember Archer barging in as he does. And he had shared with her, she's like, he's not verbatim, but it's something along the lines of, he's sharing with me, you were working, you went to see horses and there was two horses, like yeah, darker and then a lighter bay kind of colors. And I'm like, okay, like, how do you know this? You know, like, how do you know that? And I at this point, obviously, animal communication was like, I'm not disbelieving, but I'm like, I didn't say anything to her about this. She didn't know 2 days before or whatever it was that I went down and worked on these horses.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting the story from my dog, and I'm like, what in
Wow.
the world? And so she's just like, yeah, he wanted to bring up the that it felt like one of those horses had a headache, and that you helped work through like some tension in this headache of this horse. And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting at my table communicating with my animals through this person. Now my dog is talking to me about this experience that this human should know nothing about. Like, it was kind of one of those like, dang, I can't deny any of this now. Like, I am so, there's no way, right? And
Well,
and so, oh my
like
gosh, it was wild.
the level to which
Hmm.
for me it's like I was amazed the more I dove into this, the level of information that they can get is
Yep,
way more than I comprehended in the beginning. So I think that would be a good example. Like your dog is
totally.
telling the communicator what it witnessed.
Right. And like this horse with a headache and like tension. And I'm like, oh yeah, there was a lot. Like that poor guy had a lot going on, and it
Hmm.
was like bulging in his head. Like, we all have
Wow.
seen it, and so it was like one of
Interesting.
those wild experiences. And all of my horses are, oh my gosh. Okay, actually, okay. So Shaylee is gonna love that I'm telling this story. So all right. So I have two horses, Franklin, and then I have a 2-year-old. She just turned two. Her name is Rose, and she is of otherworldly, magical creature that landed in my life that
Okay.
I've spent many, many lifetimes with, I know. But anyway, she's the most precious thing in the world. So it was when Rose was born. I connected with her before she was born because I was working with mom, and mom wasn't even supposed to be alive. She ran through a pasture with a corral gate stuck on her
Ooh.
legs, like got loose, like ripped up her legs, had an infected tendon sheath, was set for euthanasia. And then my friend took her on through a lot of holistic care and blending of the worlds, somehow cleared the infection in the tendon sheath.
Wow.
And then mom went home, I did body work on her, keeping her comfortable until baby was born, because she was essentially carrying a baby, you know, to full term on 3 legs, 3 good legs.
Wow.
So she needed a lot of support. Baby was never supposed to make it, my baby. And we
Oh,
connected with her
wow.
before. And she told us she was going to come with a rose marking, and that's why she's Rose. And so
Oh,
we like gridded her stall with like rose quartz. Like, she asked for all this protection from like the other side for her mom. Like, this horse is beyond, the wisdom is
really?
beyond real. Yeah, it's wild.
You
And
gridded
so,
it with you gridded it with rose
hmm
quartz, the stall?
hmm yep,
And
yep,
then you said she said she was going to have a rose marking. So
yep.
she does she? Where's that at on
Oh, there's a
her?
rose right on her forehead, or
Oh
right
my
on her entire
gosh.
face. Yeah.
And she
Uh-huh.
told this all to Shaylee?
No, she told this to my friend, and who had taken mom in for rehab.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, another very intuitive, spiritual human that does amazing work. And so long story, she ended up she was born, she was a healthy baby. There was a couple things that went a little haywire, but right before she was born, I connected with her and I was like, this is my horse. Like, I don't know what to say, but this is my horse. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but all I know is I'm meant to be with this horse. Like, she's meant to be with me, and vice versa. And so,
And when just pause for a second, when you said you connected with her, what did that look like?
okay, so I just get into a deep, like, kind of meditative place, and I will call in their highest good, and I will connect with like their soul, their spirit. Um, and I will just allow for what comes in and what I feel needs to be shared. And it's always just looks a little bit different no matter who it is and
Okay.
who I call in and what it looks
So
like, you know?
you did that just that's just something you intuitively do.
Hmm. Uh-huh.
and you connected with her and knew that she was meant to be with you.
It was like my soul found another soul that has lived many times before with. Like it was like,
Like a
you're back.
recognition.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. And so I was like, dang, like I don't know what to, how do I say this to the owner? you know, hey, this
Yeah.
horse is mine. Your horse is mine. So it there was time that passed, and Shaylee had done in the tea house, she had done a post where it was one of hers where like you post a picture of your horses and like or whatever, and she would just do a call, and it was like just a live call, and whoever comes in would come in, whatever. I posted a picture of Franklin and I posted a picture of Rose, and I remember posting a picture of Rose, but she wasn't mine at the time yet. And I mean, technically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I
Yet.
posted it knowing, yeah, knowing that I'm like, I just have to. I don't know. I just have to. Whatever. And so the whole call went, and I was sitting in my car on a lunch break at work. And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of getting to the point where I got to go back inside. And so it was literally the last one where in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go after this one. And then, of course, Rose comes in. And then it's like this beautiful message. And I don't honestly even remember fully all of the details, but it was just this divine timing of things. And that she had this message of like attachments to outcomes. And I mean, she's just carries more wisdom than I probably ever will. I don't know. But she showed up and came through on that call. And then the next day, so Shaylee, I told her about this situation, and
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know what to do. She's not mine, but I'm like I have to like separate myself, because if I don't have this horse, like my soul, my life will be crushed. Like I I have to like, start removing myself from it, prepping that in case she's not mine,
Right. Right.
in this world. And so the next day, Shaylee opened up her computer and had like when you log on your like she has a Mac, and you go to type in your passcode to log in. Underneath like the little icon or like her name or something, a rose, graphic art rose was just there. And she's like, I've never seen this. I don't know why. I don't know why this is here. Like, it is the most wild thing in the world. And she messaged me. She's just like, Rose is leaving a sign. Like, it was like the sign to like take action to pursue what I felt so strongly about, but like not
Mm-hmm.
doing it holding attachment to any outcome of it, but like
Mm-hmm.
doing it through like knowing genuinely what I felt in me, and like what was authentic, and what needed to be shared. But like
Yeah.
whatever outcome exists is over there, and it's just it exists. I don't have attachment to it, but I need to share right around
Mm-hmm.
what I feel around this. And so that was the final sign. And then the next day it went away, and she's never seen it again. And so it was like,
Interesting.
how in the world does somebody's random computer get a graphic art rose show up after this call, clearly a sign from Rose, like that I needed. And then I messaged the human, and I'm like, I can't afford to pay, but I can trade, I can help you. She had other horses and different things that she kind of could use support with at the time. And
Mhm.
I'm like, this is the story. And I don't know even what I'm asking about this, other
Like,
than
what am I
she's
doing? I
meant
don't
to
know.
be with me. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I was like, so there you go. And then she just was like, responded and was like, yeah, yeah, a trade sounds good, basically. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, this is that piece of trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, and then like living within like that authentic space,
yeah, yeah, for sure. That's so
So
cool.
yeah, it's
That's really
yeah.
interesting that you even shared the story because that feels like kind of the space I'm in right now with this horse, the one that didn't sell, and
Yep.
I don't know how it's going to turn out yet. But I did
Mhm.
finally speak to the owner and I
Mm,
spoke my truth which I had been holding back for years because I didn't know how I would afford this horse or even not afford like to buy him, but even to afford to have a third horse, right? I'm like, I
Right.
can't afford another horse. So, I
Yeah.
mean, she
One
and I
more.
had a whole discussion about it, and I have, yeah, I'm not attached to the outcome, but I felt this will be interesting because this is a work in progress, so we'll see what happens. But like, I felt
Interesting.
good for at least just saying what was on my heart about it
Yep.
and like kind of offering an idea of how it could possibly work. And now the ball is kind of in her court, and I wait and see. But I was too afraid to actually speak my truth for so many years while I was going through, I think, all my own healing journey and whatever. So it did feel pretty empowering, regardless of what happens, to even
Right.
just say, hey, I do want him. I just don't know how this is going to
Yep.
happen. And now
Yep.
we'll see. Yeah,
And now
but
you
that's
see.
your story is so similar.
Ah.
That's really interesting.
Ooh.
I mean, just
Yeah.
per wow, interesting topic that we're talking about.
I know it gives me goosebumps because I'm like, yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, I was supposed to share this. And it's so
Yeah.
weird that this was such, I mean, she still messages me sometimes and she's just like, dude, I still can't get over that rose. And like that whole situation, like it was just the most wildly beautiful thing. And then I can't believe I didn't even think about bringing it up.
Just
And then
all
the
of a sudden
download
popped into
hit.
your head. So it was
Yeah.
meant to come out.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you shared it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what else? What other stories do you have that I just, I just love I obviously I'm like all excited listening to the stories. I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then what happened?
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, there has been just like a plethora of, it's almost just like so interwoven in life now that
Tell
it's
me about
just,
tell me about the light language gal. You said you had the
yes.
communicator that ended the session with light language. And
Hmm.
yeah, what was that about and how did that go?
Yes. Okay. So, well, and I should, as like kind of a precursor. So
Hmm.
there's a shaman here that I started working with, and she's absolutely incredible. And I think she opened me up. I mean, I've two or three times worked with her, and
Mm.
she kind of like helped me open up a lot of like portals to my guides in a lot of different ways, I
Mm.
guess is a way to put
Okay.
that,
Hmm.
which helps with all of this, right? Like it helps me be more open to what is happening around me, especially with what communicators I fall into and like land with that
Yeah.
end up working with, or just experiences that I have. So, so that is like a big piece to the puzzle, I think. But I ended up finding this gal, and her name is Tracy, and we had a session last year, and she,
I'm just gonna say it's not Tracy Rainwaters because she's local to me. Is this person local to you?
I
Tracy.
think she is. She lives in like a couple hours south of me, I think. But
Okay.
I think
All
she
right.
is in Colorado.
Okay.
I think so. It's
Okay.
not
But
Tracy
anyways,
Rainwaters though.
how
But yeah.
how'd you find her?
So it was a friend of mine who has used her for years. And I ended up, I've just always been intrigued by like what she shares from her sessions with her. She's just always just like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, the coolest things to come through, you know? And so I had this call with her last year, and it was really cool because I would have to go back and look at my notes. It's so funny how like there's certain things that click, and then that stay with me.
Yeah.
But it was a long call, and we spent a lot of time together, and she just tapped into a lot. And I could feel there was like a major somatic piece to all of this because I could feel her and like hear her on the other line. Like this was just over the phone, like channeling Franklin and Rose. Towards the end, Rose was so sweet. She's just like, "Can I be here?" Yeah, you can always be here. She follows me everywhere I go, anywhere I'm at, wherever it is. She's
Oh,
like my little spirit horse that's always with me.
oh, I love that.
But he has a very strong presence. Franklin does, and he puts himself into places very interestingly when I,
Uh-huh.
have a communicator come in. Yeah, she pulled up like past live things with him. She pulled a saber out of his side, from when
What?
he was a war horse. Like there was something that was like energetically, like that was still there, right? It was
Mm.
really wild. And so there was a lot of other things that we worked through. It was this beautiful, beautiful experience. And she did a lot of sharing with me on ways in which she could tell I operated and things that I could do in practice to deepen like my communication practice, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because I always want to like explore more with that. The more that I'm coming to terms with me and connected with me and listening to me, and the more I am so intrigued by expanding, what that looks like with all of this, with my horses and all my
Mm-hmm.
animals. But at the end of it, she spoke in light language. So the horses had put like a light, like an energetic, like light around them. They both chose different like color and
Okay.
like energy to like protect themselves with, and what my guides came in to support them with, and like kind of how that looked. And it was like a really beautiful thing because it was very interactive. And then she finished by speaking in light language, and I have no idea what any of that means, but I left so intrigued that I was like, I don't even have the brain power or bandwidth to like dive into this rabbit hole yet. And I know I will one day, and I still have not. And that was like 6 months ago,
Oh,
because I'm
wow.
like, that's a whole thing. It was very energetically strong. And I don't know, it
So
felt good.
if she was speaking in light language, like, did she interpret that for you? Or then what were you supposed to do with that?
I just stayed. It was like the end of where we were. And I know that the
Or is it
horses were able to interpret it in
like a
ways
frequency healing thing? Or I don't know that much about it either.
I don't know that much about it. It felt like a commencement to that space that we were in. And like, this is just the feeling I have looking back to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was a way of like communicating, but then also like setting the tone, or um like stabilizing that whole experience almost, and allowing it to like set in and hold. I don't know how else to explain it. But that's what it felt like to me. And I'm
Was
really
it,
excited to do another one with her.
was
It'll be
there,
cool.
well, because I mean, she was connecting with Franklin, and was there
Mhm.
like a healing aspect to the session itself, or what was
Oh yeah.
the
Oh
topic?
yeah.
So,
Yep, definitely. And just like I always go into them, I just book them. Usually it's not for like any specific reason. It's just when I get the
mm,
download. And then
like
however
do it.
far out they are, yep, I just, oh, I have this. Cool. And then it's just what happens, what comes in, where are we at? Like I don't usually go into them totally with like something I'm trying to figure out or
Mm. Just more
work
of a
on.
like a
Hmm.
check-in or something.
Hmm.
Well, it's
Yep.
fascinating. Actually, you should bring that up in the tea house with Shaylee because she just started downloading those light language, like she's doing those like
Yep.
watercolor paintings in light language. That's just fascinating actually that
Yeah.
there's that connection too and that it's new for her too.
Yeah. I know. That's why I
Um,
was like, ooh, I love that you're exploring with this, because now I can have another lens of like somebody else using it and like their interpretation of
yeah.
it, and like how they're incorporating it in their practice, especially as an animal communicator. And it's just another way to like learn more about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I don't know that much about it either. I'll have to do my own deep dive, or maybe I can
Mm-hmm.
do it'd be interesting to do an episode actually
Yeah.
about that with somebody that really is, maybe even that lady.
Mm. I
Maybe you'll have to
that
connect
was
me, maybe you'll have to
Yeah,
connect me
yeah.
with Tracy and maybe we'll do an episode about that. That would be fascinating,
It'd be really
actually,
cool. I'll
because
I'll
I
send you
need
her
to learn some
information.
things. I have a bazillion questions.
Me too. So yes, have her on so that I can learn a lot of things
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Wow.
uh,
Is there anything else coming up that in your mind of stories that you want to share or
like a million and one things. But no, not necessarily. I think those stories feel good. Yeah.
yeah, I think what's cool, what I'm taking from this conversation, what I think is cool is that you haven't done any animal communication classes yet. You are owning that you're communicating with them and you have your own process. And it's like, I think that's just a good reminder to people that, yeah, you don't have to do a class to be able to do it. You know what
Mm-mm.
I mean? Like
Mm-mm. Yep.
you, and like you had also mentioned, the more that you get to know you, what really kind of resonated with me there was that because I've been on the same journey. I mean, I know our journeys are a little bit different, but similar in some
They're
ways.
similar.
And
Hmm.
as I'm getting to know who I am and letting go of all the stuff that hasn't been mine, that's been like slathered all over me, for
Yep.
lack of a better word, like as I'm releasing all these things that have been kind of lacquered onto me that weren't really mine, and I'm letting that shit go,
Yep.
and trying to figure out who the fuck I am. Excuse me. No, I guess we can swear on here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have to mark it now explicit, but
Yeah. I love
but as I'm trying
it.
to figure out that, as you're able to really figure out who you are, I think it does open up that channel to communicate with your animals more freely
Yep.
because there isn't all this bullshit
Yep.
blocking the way, the way, the way. Now I feel
Yes.
like I'm Grogu or something, but
Yeah, right. This is the way. Yeah. This is the way.
this is the way.
I know.
But really, right? Because
Yes. Hmm.
as you let go of all that baggage, now you can have this two-way conversation with your animals and have it be normal and not have it
Hmm.
be like doubting yourself or,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
being blocked and not being able to hear them. Or, I mean, I think that's, to me, that is the biggest incentive to do all of the
Yep.
self-healing work is to, so that for me personally, so that I can
Yeah.
have that purity of that relationship with my animals without a bunch of
Hmm.
stuff bogging us down that doesn't need
Right.
to be there, you know?
Right. It's the constant pull of living somewhere else other than here. And then it's like, wow, I will never get to know my horses as well as I really want to if I am so hung up on what's coming and then what already happened that I can't be here. And then we start to develop a lack of safety in our own nervous system
Mm,
when we are here because we're so
mhm.
used to being distracted and avoiding and being pulled into these places that don't exist. And then we create stories in our head that aren't real. And like we start going into these spaces that are just pulling us further and further away from us. Right. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's been just trying to be present with myself and then like being able to look at things that come up when I am present with myself and like feeling and actually feeling and like going,
Mm,
okay, I'm allowed to feel these things. I can also see the feelings come in and emotions and then let them move on by. And it's just, I look
mm,
at things as just, it's all just gathering data. And if we can be clear about what it is we want and our why, and then get present and still and slow down enough, everything will be right in front of us. And the horses are like, you're here. We've been waiting. you know?
yeah. No, I love the
Uh,
two things that you said about letting the emotion, like being willing to feel the emotion, like not feeling like you have to hold that at an arm's length, like allow yourself to
yeah.
feel it and then let it go.
Hmm.
But the other thing about being, like, I know from my own personal experience, it's been a battle to learn how to not live in fear
Yeah.
of like losing Ugo, for example. He's the best
Yeah.
example because he's always getting injured. So I think I have a heightened sense of fear about losing him. And what I've really come to realize and am embracing, and it is a work in progress, is that when I'm living in fear about losing him,
Hmm.
I'm not enjoying him while he's here. So
Right.
it's like that is my big incentive is to quit living with that anxiousness of what could happen or what if or when
Yeah.
is this going to happen or what if I'm not ready or
Yeah.
and just let all that go. And even I think the last time I had him out, it's like I just am going to enjoy you
Hmm.
for as much time as we have. And I
Hmm.
can't think about those other things because it's robbing you of the present when you do that,
Yep.
you know?
100%. And it's that like space of once we can slow down and recognize, like, oh my gosh, there's a trigger that showed up. Okay. Then it's there's a way that I can approach this thing. And is it from a fear-based or a love-based state? And then we
Yeah.
always have a choice. Everything is a choice. So I've been getting really like kind of coming back to self, and I haven't been on social media really. I hop on and I throw something on my story and then I get off, or I go through
Yeah.
Meta to do like, HHC stuff, kind of the belly of the beast. We kind of have to be on there. But it's all these things that they breed like comparison and envy and
Mm.
jealousy and fear of missing out and all these things that once I started paying attention to actually how I felt like and where my nervous system was at, I'm like, I don't like feeling any of those ways. I could put my phone down and I have a little tiny dog in front of me that is like this little golden precious child of mine. Like,
Yeah.
why am
So,
I spending my time finding fear-based emotions through this thing? But I had to recognize that
yeah.
and be able to go, some days it's easier and I don't feel those things, but I had to get clear, like, what do they feel like, first of all? And then
Yeah.
when they do come up and I feel them, I put it down. I have a choice. I can
Yeah.
choose to feel love-based emotions instead by removing this thing and then going somewhere that
Mm.
encourages that, right? That state of what I want.
Yeah, because if you don't put it down, like your body goes into tension, and
Yep.
then the tension just creates more tension.
Hmm.
And when
Hmm.
you did say what you said about like noticing the trigger, I think the cool thing that I've picked up in my own journey of healing is like as a riding instructor, I always tell people that my students, like I tell them, like I'm pointing out things that they're doing, with their position or whatever that they're doing with the horse, and they don't even realize they're doing it, right? And I
Hmm.
always tell them, like, you until you notice that you're doing it without me telling you, you can't really fix the problem. But as I keep pointing it out to you, eventually, like you hear my voice in your head, or all of a sudden
Yep.
you catch yourself doing it before I had to say anything. I said, as soon as that happens,
Hmm.
now you can be on your way to fixing it. But when
Yeah.
you don't realize you're doing it, you can't fix it. And the
Yeah.
same exact thing, this is what
Hmm.
I'm finding, is like it applies to our triggers.
Yeah.
The
1000%.
same exact thing applies to our triggers. So, like when we don't realize we're triggered, how
Hmm.
do we fix that when we don't even
Hmm.
realize we're getting triggered? But once we
Hmm.
can step back enough and through, like for me, it was doing 2 years of intense work with Amber and Shaylee that I
Mm.
literally could start to see the things that were triggering me and start to kind of change and reprogram my reactions to things.
Yeah.
But until you notice that you're triggered, you can't fix it either. Same
No.
thing.
Yeah.
And
100%.
same
Hmm.
thing with the horse when the horse is doing like I always call it when they're turning their body inside out, their body's in tension, they're
Yeah.
in tension. So the same thing is just for our own psyche, really, is figuring out ways to release that tension and yeah, live in a more fluid, present, softer
Mm-hmm.
state so that we're not fighting the world around us, really. I think that's
Yeah.
what it boils down
Literally.
to.
And it's like, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah,
But again, it's like
it's a
one step at
journey.
a time, right? Like it's
Yeah.
okay. Just being aware is kind of the start to everything. Yeah.
Awareness. So true.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness and intention. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything I didn't ask you about that you want to add, or how do you feel?
Think so. Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Feels
What
good.
about and we kind of maybe already talked about it, but what I said I would ask you is like if you had the one piece of advice to tell our listeners, what would you do to help improve and have a more magical connection with your horse? What would that one thing be?
Slowing down. That has been the absolute biggest thing. And I think it's so, I mean, it's like a very complex concept because it applies to kind of everything. But as soon as we're able to slow down with ourselves, it just forces us to be present. It's that being present with the horses piece, slowing down with our horses, literally when we're working with them, like in training. That has been huge. I mean, very dear friend of mine that I spend like all my days with, playing with horses. Her name is Carol. And, you know, she's like, yeah, like slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I don't remember who it exactly that came from, but it's like we hold that energy a lot, because until you can slow down and actually work through things at a slow way instead of bulldozing through, whether it's us with our own self and our nervous system, or our horses in training, or body work, or like literally any piece of our life, like that we're working on and practicing, we're going to miss a lot of the nuance that comes, right? Like that's why the masters are like so amazing, because they did slow down and they worked through all of these really small nuanced pieces of the foundation aspects of whatever it is that they're a master of, right? A trainer. That's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Then you can speed up, because you have built this foundation by being slow and intentional and grounded and clear. And then everything can build from there, but you need a solid foundation. And it's that energy that I carry into HHC, that I want it to be a place for people to slow down and like actually get to know and be more thinking horsemen, for themselves and their horses. So slowing down.
Okay. I love that. Yeah, we live in a very fast-paced world, so it's definitely a good piece of advice. And
slow down, smell the roses. Yeah.
smell the roses. I love it. Well, awesome, Maeve. This has been so much fun to catch up with you. And
this is lovely.
I will put all the information in the show notes for how people can find you and your whole horse collective. And yeah, just thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll chat more soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you on. And yeah, it'll be soon.
Yay. Okay.
Yay.
Thanks, Maeve. That was so much fun to catch up with you and to talk about all the things. It was such a great conversation. And if you, the listeners, want to learn more about Maeve, you can actually head to her website, franklysoundequine.com, to learn more about Maeve and her business. And if you are interested in joining the Holistic Horse Collective, you can go to www.holistichorsecollective.com. We just are having such a great time doing these episodes with you. As we talked about today, got some ideas for some new episodes. If you'd like to join us on the My Magical Horse mission, go to www.patreon.com/mymagicalhorse, and we just can't wait to see you there. Until next time, namaste, friends.